21 years old. I've got $6,840 in the bank. I added to the CD another, say, $3,000. So I had $10,000 set aside that I did not need. Now, when you read books and you watch podcasts and you have this vision in your head that I'd love to do this, I want to be in that, there's a lot of doubt, like, I'll never do this. I want to try, but there's more doubt, especially when you're young, that you're going to be a multimillionaire making lots of passive income. There's more doubt in your head than anything. And I was that person. I'm like, yeah, I saw the book and I saw these infomercials and I had that burning desire. But the reality, did I ever think I would do it? No, I had, especially at 21 years old, I didn't. I say that because now I've got 10,000 and I'm looking, and I started going through the books. I see a picture. Wow. Pelican Pass, 301A, right across from the ocean, $85,000. I've got 10,000. I hear about these loans, 10% down. Maybe I can swing it. I called the realtor, and I was tight at 85,000 because I had some closing costs. So she said, and I call her up, and, big 21-year-old investor, acting like I got a bunch of money. And I said, hey, throw an offer, $75,000 in. And I'm thinking, what the hell did you just do? You just made an offer. You're living with your parents. I'm in this triplex 2 blocks from the beach. I'm living with my parents, 21 years old. I've got this ceiling cleaning business. And I just made a $75,000 offer on a condo. She calls me back the next day. Oh, she first says to me, no, you can't offer that low. And I said, well, I've been reading the real estate books, and if I offer $5, you have to present any offer. And she did. The next day, there was an older couple from New York. And remember, this is South Carolina. And she said, reluctantly, well, they've accepted your offer. I'm like, oh, shit. Right now, that's great. You got a piece of paper with your name on it. Yeah, you got to close and find, the other $65,000 in 30 days. So I learned as I'm talking to people, and in that time, there were these things called no-doc loans. And what they were you just had to prove your income, or you had to state your income. You could say, hey, I make $50,000 a year. They would look at your checking account. They wanted to see cash flow, and they weren't adding anything up. But you had to have a credit score of 625 or more. So if you met that guideline, 625 or more, and you had this cash flow, chances are you would be approved. I remember driving up to Oak Avenue in Myrtle Beach, United Carolina Bank. I go up these big marble steps in this bank, and I meet this woman. She's sitting behind this big desk, and she's got a look of defeat. And I said, well, what's wrong? She goes, I don't know. She goes, you can apply for this loan if you want. She goes, but the board just denied the first 3 that were in front of you, and I don't know what's going on. And I said, yeah. I said, but you had to have a score, I heard, of 625. Yeah, but they look at your cash flow and your ability to pay. And I was just like, everything was just drained out. I had the money, I had the down payment, I had the contract. All I needed was this loan, and I felt like I wasn't going to get it. I waited 3 days, boom, there it pops up on the phone. And I'll never forget, congratulations, your loan has been approved. I'm like, oh, awesome. Closed in 30 days. Now, what you do when you buy real estate, you get to do a walkthrough. So you go through the property before you settle. And I went through it, 2 bedrooms. It was dated. I looked out in the ocean and I looked at it. Still, obviously wasn't mine because I didn't go to settlement. But this is the strangest feeling. You go to a room in a law firm or a title company. There's a bunch of keys and papers on the table. The opposing party sitting down there. You sign a bunch of stuff, a mountain phone book of documents. And just like that, they slide keys over and it becomes yours. I go back to this condo that I was just there an hour ago. I still had the same feeling looking around, like, well, it doesn't feel like it's mine, but it was. That reality that it was mine when I got my mortgage statement set in. Oh yeah, it's yours, you have to pay for it. So I looked around and I couldn't help. It's in me that, it had older carpet, it had molding that needed to be painted, it had some cabinets that needed to be painted. So I go up, I'm a real estate investor now. I go up to Lowe's Home Improvement and I applied for a credit card at the front desk and they gave me $1,800. So I bought paint, I bought tile, I bought carpet, linoleum floor for the bathrooms, and I started to fix it up, and it really started to look nice. I lived there for 3-4 months in the spring, and then the summer rental, remember, this was a vacation area, and my payment was $675. I think the homeowner's fee was $200. So whatever my payment was, it might be $800 a month. I moved out of it, moved back with my parents, and I rented it for 3 months in the summer. So I got all that rental income, which really paid my entire mortgage if I wanted to for the entire year. Fast forward, life's good. I got my first piece of real estate, making money. I got it at a good deal. I've got some equity. Now I've got forced equity. I'm going to talk about that later because I fixed it up. I've got that forced equity, so it's worth more. No intentions whatsoever of fixing it and flipping it. I go through the same book. I bought 301A Pelican Pass. I see 302 Pelican Pass for $109,900. So I called my realtor. I said, I just paid $75,000 for this less than a year, and this unit is $109,900. I said, is that a mistake? And she goes, no, and people are looking at it. I said, I'll be right down. I listed mine for $104,900, and in 2 weeks, I got a 101 cash offer, and we closed in 30 days. Now, looking back, golden rule, keep real estate. But what this did for me, I walked away after closing costs with $17,000. Now, remember, I had my $6,840. I added, some money to it, and I turned that into 17 grand. And it was relatively easy and fun. And that 17 grand, I held it and put it away for my next real estate project. But that goes, look, at a very young age, I did it. I went out. It wasn't easy with the financing. All these terms, forced equity and down payment, I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm going to talk later on about red zones of what you should look at in real estate. I wung it with this one. And it just so happens that it turned out great, not like the jet ski rental business. But I learned a lot of why it turned out great. And I will teach you that in later videos here. But so go out there. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Remember, I did not qualify for a regular loan. They had these special loans and no doc loans. Anybody can get money in real estate. And there's no better time to start saving. If you have money that you don't need, and don't just put it away. And then when you look at it, that's a daily reminder of that goal. Hey, I want to add to that because I don't know it yet, but that is going to be my segue to that first deal. And say you build up $10,000, you can very easily take that 10 grand and turn it in today, probably $20,000 or $30,000, and then do it again and again and again. But you're going to have to stop at some point. I call that snowballing, and you're going to have to turn it into, or roll it into, a passive income piece of property. And that is the goal of this entire podcast, book, anything I'm about. It's about passive income. But this property for me, this is where the spark was lit for real estate of reality. Remember, in the beginning, it was, yeah, I want to do it. I had that spark lit with the book and all that, but I had a lot of doubts. I don't know if it's real or if these people in the book are real. That was confirmation. It was real. I was hooked. And what I did next is pretty cool.